excited when I get up in the morning and I know it's a making day. I think it's because I still love making pots after 20 odd years. The making is the most exciting bit. When I actually put a piece of clay on the wheel, the first thing I do is work it up and down. Not only to centre it, but I'm actually feeling the clay. And I'm actually gauging the power of the clay, in a sense. Clays vary considerably, and this is one reason why I make my own clays, so that I can control, to a large degree, its plasticity and the texture. All these reasons are important when you're making pots. The physical thing of throwing is quite hard work. Although I'm used to it, and I can probably do a phenomenal amount by most people's understanding, it's still hard work. It's a really fantastic thrill to throw with it, because you know you can really do almost anything, which is a great feeling, because that's what you've really worked for all your life. And the pleasure is just enormous. Raku originated in Japan, and it really is about the process of taking red-hot pots with fairly low-fired glazes on and putting them in a combustible material which creates further effects again on the glaze. This is a jewellery box project that I'm working on. They have been biscuit-fired, which means that they're hard but still absorbent, so that they will take the Raku glaze. I want to glaze the inside of this pot, so I'm going to pour the glaze in and quickly pour it out again to hopefully get a nice even coat on the inside of the pot. There we are, just put it down to dry. It doesn't take long. I'm now going to glaze the outside of the pot. This is mainly copper with a tiny bit of frit in it. And I just want to do nice, even myriad colours. Okay, and that's it now, ready for firing. So when I've done a couple more, we can have a Raku firing. There was a strong interest when I was at college in Raku, and I rejected it because of its vulnerability, and I wanted to make pots that would last. And therefore this Raku business of actually firing raw pots in charcoal and all manner of kilns, I just thought it was a complete waste of time, and I didn't want to know about it really. I've left the burners pointing downwards away from the work on a gentle flame. All I want to do is to heat up the kiln shelf and the pots a little bit before I turn the power up, and then straighten the burners, but I'll still be keeping the flame well away from the work, so as to avoid direct contact with the flame, which could be risky. So and then it's just a matter of building the pressure up gently until the glazes have melted. I always like to push things to their limits, and suddenly some little accident might happen, but you think, well, that happened because of this, and therefore I might just be able to control that accident and make it work for me. Although the smoke's driven into the piece, you can pull it out the sawdust and then a piece will burn off, and by sprinkling it on you can get all these little subtleties happening which do change the form of the piece that you've made.
This is typical. You can see where the colours change from the reds to the blues and golds, and that's very typical of
What the copper does when the flame is burning up the pot. I used to use a turquoise blue on the inside, but I've gone for this softer green now, which I prefer, and it's easier to gauge the temperature when I'm firing the kiln. So I'm quite pleased about that. I like all these haphazard brush strokes, and that's really what I try and aim for when I'm firing pieces with this particular technique. I enjoy talking about my work because every piece I make, I try and make it as meaningfully as I can. I don't talk pots all the time, but I don't need much to get going.